Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on European Confessions. The following story that you're going to be listening to, it was sent to me by one of our dear brother. The message that he sent to me, the narration, it reads like this. Strange things indeed, they do happen in this world. Our dear brother is saying that he came to South Africa and then there were some strange things that his boss suggested that he was supposed to do. And he was afraid that this man, since he was always having a gun at all the times by him, maybe the guy was going to kill him. That was when he decided to do this strange and weird, to participate in that weird ritual. And the translation is like this. Hello, how are you? My name is Tinashe and I am a man who is from Zim. So it was in the year... in 2011, it was in June. I still remember that night because it was very cold. So I used to sleep in the garage because at that time when I started working for this man, he told me that he wanted me to stay at his place. But the only problem was that at the back, there was one room. This room, it was being used by the maid. So he said, where am I going to put you? He then took a bed and he said that you'll be sleeping on this bed. So I was sleeping in front of the cars in his garage. I did not mind. All that I cared about was me being able to provide for my small family back home. I was working as a gardener for a wealthy family in South Africa. Life was hard. The living conditions, they were quite hard, knowing that you have no privacy at all. Whenever they felt like they would just get into the garage whilst you would be sleeping. But I was grateful for the job. My employer was a serious man, a very serious man. He was always strict, but that man, he paid me really well. So I kept my head down and did my work. What I was afraid about him was that he always had his gun with him at all the times. It did not matter if it was weekend or what, so I was scared of him. Little did I know that one day everything would change in the most horrifying way. It was a cold evening in June when my boss came home really late with something that was unusual. I still remember that he had his G-Wagon on that day. He parked it and then he said, come, come. He whistled at me silently and I went there saying that I was not supposed to make any noise. To my surprise, he had folded the seats and then I saw that there was a coffin that was inside. He did not explain anything, but I could feel something was wrong from the way that he avoided eye contact with me. Then he called me out of that garage and he said that there was something that he wanted me to do for him. And then I followed him. When I followed him, Brother Nashi, that was when I saw that there was a coffin. But this coffin, when he opened it, I nearly fainted, for there was a woman that was inside. This woman, she was totally dead. I am talking about a woman who seemed as if they had just taken her out of the mortuary. And it seemed as if he wanted to return as fast as he could with that coffin to the mortuary. He then said, you see, my friend, this is the reason as to why I had hired you in the first place. The reason as to why I hired you in the first place, it is because I wanted you to assist with me this ritual. Once we are done doing this thing, I'm going to give you a lot of money. Are you okay with it? Brother Nashi, I was so scared at that time and I told myself that in order for me to survive, all that I had to do was to do what this man wanted me to do. So I agreed and I said, yes, boss, anything that you want me to do, I am going to do it, because I was scared of the gun that he had by his side. So Brother Nashi, this man then informed me that the reason as to why he had brought me into that guest room, he wanted me to sleep with that woman. I did not know what to say or do. My whole body froze. My boss, cold and calm, told me I had to do something that no man should never been asked to do. He wanted me to make love to that corpse. I was horrified, but he warned me that if I did not do it, something worse, even worse, was going to happen to me. And being in a country when you do not have any rights because you are illegal, it is a nightmare. Brother Nashi, even though I did not want, I told myself that I just needed to survive this night, and I asked God for forgiveness, and fear consumed me. In that moment, I felt trapped. I had no choice at all. I followed his orders. I don't know how to explain the terror and shame that I felt afterwards. When it was over, my boss then took the coffin and disappeared. All that we had to do, Brother Nash, was that We had to remove that woman from the coffin, and we laid the coffin on the floor. Then the woman, we laid her on the bed, and I climbed. This woman, she was freezing cold. I avoided even looking at her. I felt like vomiting. Even my private part, it refused to operate. But my boss said it does not matter. It is going to be okay. All that I had to do was to ejaculate, and I did, and I did not even enjoy it at all. When it was over, I was then taken outside, and then the coffin was taken. I never saw that dead woman again, but the nightmare was not even over. I returned back to the garage and I fell asleep, but I was so scared. But this was just the beginning of my horrifying tale that happened when I was in South Africa. A few days later, the police came to the house. My boss had framed me for stealing his wife's phone. It was a BlackBerry Curve. The phone was conveniently found in my suitcase by one of the police officers who seemed to be so suspicious. All of a sudden, he said, look at this monarch, because I had this other suitcase that I had bought. I still remember that it was a red Chalmers suitcase that I had bought that I wanted to use when I would be returning back home. He said, look at this, let us see what is in that suitcase. That was when they found the phone, the BlackBerry Curve. It was in there. But I sweared and I cried and I said I had never touched it, for I was innocent. But no one would even believe me. They arrested me on the spot, and I spent, Brother Nashi, this was 7 long months that I spent in prison before being deported back to Zim. This man, he even had the audacity to come and visit me when I was in prison. When I heard that there was someone who had came to visit me, I asked who was it, but they did not want to tell me. When I went there, that was when I found out that it was my former boss. I cried and I returned back into the cells. The whole time that I was in jail, I could not even shake the memory of what had happened with that corpse. I had nightmares. Even right now, I still have nightmares. Even when I think about the way that I slept with that dead woman, I feel somehow as if I am no longer a human being because of what I did. I can even feel my life falling apart whenever I think about it. Since then, my life has been nothing but bad luck. I can't find stable work, and everything that I try to do, it seems as if I am cursed. Right now, I am working here in Harare. I am repairing phones and laptops. But Brother Nashi, there have been so many times that I have been arrested for some things that I don't even know. I don't know why it happens to me. Someone brought a phone to me and I repaired that phone. So what we do is that if you come to me and if you repair your phone and then you do not come back, then I have to sell that phone. Brother Nashi, I did not even know that this phone had been stolen. So the time that I sold this phone, unfortunately, that was when I saw the police. They came and they took me. They beat me even though they released me. I could not even walk for a couple of days. But this is the life that I am living. I have gone to different white garment prophets and they have told me that there is a spirit of a dead woman that is following me. And I know where my problem is coming from. Dear listeners, right, there was a message that was sent to me by one of our dear brother. Strange things indeed they do happen in this world. Can you imagine